December 24, 1999. Inside the terminal of Tribhuvan International Airport, passengers are boarding a routine flight to Delhi. Tribhuvan International Airport is the primary aviation hub serving the capital city of Nepal. Families are heading home for the holidays, showing the relaxed relief of a trip winding down. The moment the aircraft crosses into Indian airspace, 5 men rise from their seats and pull out weapons, announcing they have seized control. To ensure total compliance, the hijackers single out a young man starting a new life. They execute him in the cabin. It is a calculated act meant to extinguish any thought of resistance among the remaining passengers. IC-814 is now a pressurized airborne cell. Indian Airlines was a major state-owned carrier in India. The hijackers hold absolute, lethal authority over every person on board. This map shows the erratic trajectory of Flight 814 as the hijackers force the pilots toward Lahore. Lahore is the second largest city in Pakistan and sits directly adjacent to the Indian border. Air traffic control denies them permission to land, forcing the pilots to circle while fuel gauges drop toward zero. Running on empty, the pilots bring the plane down in Amritsar. Amritsar is a major commercial and cultural center in the northwestern Indian state of Punjab. This touchdown presents Indian security forces with the only clear window to ground the aircraft and end the standoff. The response on the ground stalls. Command decisions are delayed and communication breaks down between agencies. The hijackers use this hesitation to demand fuel, and before a strike team is authorized to breach, the plane accelerates down the runway and takes off again. A crisis that was manageable on domestic soil has escaped. When the wheels leave the tarmac in Punjab, the hijacking becomes a sprawling international emergency. The plane makes a tense stopover in Dubai, where the hijackers release a few hostages. Dubai is a major city and international aviation hub in the United Arab Emirates. While this offers a brief glimpse of hope, the aircraft quickly returns to the sky, with the majority of the passengers still trapped. On New Year's Eve, the plane touches down in Kandahar. Kandahar is a major city in southern Afghanistan that served as the political and military center of the Taliban regime. The aircraft is now in a territory where the Indian government has no diplomatic reach or military leverage. Heavily armed Taliban fighters now patrol the tarmac, boxing the plane into a hostile military zone. These fighters seal the aircraft's perimeter, effectively cutting off any possibility of an outside rescue mission. With the plane secured, the hijackers broadcast their real objective. They demand the Indian government release 3 high-value militants currently held in high-security prisons. The hijackers are using 160 civilian lives to extort the Indian state. This is an open assault on the nation's security apparatus, using human shields to force a political compromise. Inside the cabin, conditions reach a breaking point. The power is cut, temperatures drop to freezing, and the sanitation systems overflow. The terrified hostages sit in total darkness, waiting for an execution order that could come at any second. In New Delhi, the families of those trapped on board pour onto the streets. New Delhi is the capital of India and the seat of all 3 branches of the federal government. Relatives clash with security forces, demanding that the state do whatever it takes to bring their loved ones home. Indian leadership is caught in a vice. They can refuse the demands and risk a mass execution of their citizens on live television, or they can hand over 3 men with a history of orchestrating mass casualty violence. This dilemma forces the government to consider strategic capitulation. Strategic capitulation is a geopolitical term for when a state yields to hostile demands because it calculates that doing so is the only way to prevent an immediate catastrophe. Every available path leads to a loss. Ultimately, trading the militants or sacrificing the passengers will leave a permanent, bloody mark on the country's legacy. After a week of mounting public pressure, the government's resolve breaks. To avoid a slaughter on the Kandahar tarmac, they agree to the hijackers' terms. The exchange takes place in the cold of the Afghan desert. Indian officials are forced to walk the 3 militants across the tarmac, handing them over directly to their captors in return for the exhausted passengers. When the special relief flights land in India, the airport erupts. Families weep as they embrace the survivors, and news networks broadcast the scenes of relief nationwide. Underneath the joy lies a hard reality. The successful rescue required a severe compromise of national security, setting a dangerous precedent for future extortion. The 3 released men do not disappear. Instead, they use their freedom to rebuild their networks and recruit new fighters. This diagram shows how those three individuals built major terror syndicates. Over the next decade, these specific networks planned and executed multiple high-casualty attacks across the region, claiming hundreds of additional lives. And this leaves a brutal historical question. By trading three violent extremists for 160 innocent passengers, did the government save lives, or did they commit a severe strategic error? The Kandahar hijacking dismantled previous assumptions about counterterrorism. It demonstrated that yielding to immediate demands creates a cycle of violence that future generations are forced to settle.